Live, local, now. WTOC First Alert Weather Day.
I just knew I was going to go up in the air. I was right there. The debris was flying right at me. I didn't have a thinking point to jump out the car. I didn't know what to do, so I just sit there, and I turned my car to the side. And after that, about 1 minute later, he was gone.
Wow. Tonight, we continue to cover severe storms across the coastal empire and low country behind us. In fact, you can see the destruction that took place about 4 o'clock in Garden City.
Well, the roof of the Advanced Auto Parts completely ripped off, the store demolished. We have team coverage with Tasia Reed, Sean Evans, and Elizabeth Rollins this evening. Starting with Tasia, you got to Garden City just as soon as you heard those reports of damage. What is the latest you can tell us tonight?
Well, right now, I just want to let you know that Highway 80, a portion of Highway 80, still closed between Burnside Boulevard as well as to the farmers market. They still have to restore some power, and I'm told police will be out here all night to protect businesses, especially like this one here at the Advanced Auto Parts, where obviously you can see everything was, or not everything, but most things were damaged. Now, in total, 5 minor injuries reported and a total of 14 structures across the county destroyed. SEMA says the National Weather Service will be here in the morning to assess the damage to see if an actual tornado did touch down. And there's a lot of debris still out on the roads. Take a listen to what one man had to say who was on his way from home when the rain came. He said he actually had to lay on the ground as the storm passed over.
Went smack over my house, and all I could do was lay down between my house and my neighbor's house, and I deliberately saw it just sound like a roaring lion, like a freight train. I mean, it was just devastating. First thing I thought, just lay down. I laid between my house and my sister's house. And I tell you, it just, you know, I thank God to be alive.
One thing to note, a lot of people asking about sirens and whether they went off or not. Well, SEMA says they did not go off, and that's because at the time when this happened, we were not under any warnings or watches. Reporting live in Garden City, Tasia Reed, WTOC News.
Turning now to Sean Evans, many people living and working along Highway 80 simply caught off guard, as Tasia just said. No warnings, no watches in effect at the time. The damage and debris left behind by that powerful storm is incredible. That's
right. Sean Evans is joining us live now at the east end of the stretch of Highway 80, still closed, near a hard-hit truck stop.
Yeah, guys, the 80 truck stop was one of more than a dozen businesses damaged here along this stretch. The back side of the roof caved in. You can see here over my shoulder some trucks here in the parking lot damaged as well as they sat here. Now, also in the parking lot, this SUV you're seeing video of right now, passengers had gone inside that truck stop when the wind tossed a shed into the side of their vehicle. Bystanders and emergency officials alike assessed the damage following the storm, some not able to take their eyes off the devastated storefronts and piles of debris all around them.
I've never seen it like this before. It's unbelievable. I'm speechless. I have lived over here for several years, and I've never seen anything like this before.
I was driving right over here, that red brick building right there, and when I got up to the building, all of a sudden, you heard the boom, and you saw like the lightning. It was blue sparks, like it hit something. And then all of a sudden, it was on us. It was nothing else to think about.
And Representative Gilliard there says he's going to be working very closely with Garden City's mayor and council as they assess the damage, figure out where the needs are. As soon as the damage is assessed, he's going to be contacting the governor's office to see what help they can get from the state level. Reporting live in Garden City, Sean Evans, WTOC News.
Sean, thank you for that. And taking a live look now at the Georgia Power outage map. More than 100 outages were reported throughout the Garden City area this evening.
Several crews are on the scene assessing those down power lines and working to restore your electricity just as quickly as possible. Elizabeth Rollins now joining us live. Elizabeth, what are you hearing from Georgia Power tonight?
Well, guys, officials are telling me that it could be several hours before the power is restored. They've been working tirelessly for several hours now. You can see the scene behind me. They're just actually lined up. I don't know if you can see that stretch. Multiple different power poles, many of which were split in half this afternoon when that storm moved through. These guys are from Pike Electric. They're contracted by Georgia Power. They're out here to replace several of those power lines and power poles around here. Now, police tell me that they'll have patrols out here all night because they've already had issues with looters targeting damaged businesses, and that's even more of a concern while the power is out. Some businesses are hoping to reopen tomorrow. I spoke to an employee who says he saw flying debris heading towards them, and that's when they ran for shelter inside.
The only thing I could think from that point is get all the customers that were outside and all the employees inside. You can see a bunch of debris flying everywhere, and thankfully we were lucky, you know, they didn't directly hit us. As soon as it got to the parking lot, it turned out that way.
Now, the Red Cross does have their disaster team out here helping with the efforts. Of course, we have a long way to go. Again, the power going to be several hours before it is restored, so be patient if you're one of those folks that doesn't have power. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story for several days because there will be more recovery down the road. We're live in Garden City. Elizabeth Rollins, WTOC News.
I want to show you a look now at the map of current road closures in Garden City. This is important for commuters now and in the morning from this storm damage. Highway 80 at Burnside Avenue and Chatham Parkway, Alfred Street at Highway 80, and 3rd Street at Highway 80. Travelers are asked to avoid all these areas right now, especially across Highway 80. Once we have an update from city leaders, we'll pass it along to you, so stay connected to WTOC.com in the morning before you head in your morning commute.
Now, right here on WTOC.com, you can stay up to date on the damage reports. There's also a slideshow with photos sent in by all of you. You can keep sending those pictures by using pics at WTOC.com. And please be careful when you go out there trying to take pictures of damage.
Yeah, we want to turn now from the storm damage reports to what caused all this damage.
Let's check in now with our chief meteorologist, John Weatherby.
And you can keep up to date with an interactive radar on WTOC.com, our first alert weather day. Things are really quieting down, though a new line is just developed here from Statesboro up to Screven. There's no warnings on that particular line, but we're seeing some locally heavy rainfall. Here's noon today, and watch how the storms progress toward the Savannah area. Tornado warnings in several of our inland counties. Here's where the storm passed Savannah just before 6 o'clock. That's when we got the possible tornado across Garden City. And here we are now with things continuing to drift out of the way. It was 5:55. Emergency management reporting the fact that we had a tornado in Garden City. That will need to be confirmed by the National Weather Service. Look at the other wind damage, hail damage in Jessup. A lot of different possibilities, and they all played out for this first alert weather day, including some locally heavy rainfall here tonight. 1.7 inches in Effingham County, 2.3, 2.2 inches farther inland. Some other folks saw no rain at all, including most of our island communities. 86/100ths of an inch was our official rainfall for today with our 74 degrees. Cooling just a bit where there's still some rain falling, but this is not going to cool that much very quickly as we go through the night. In fact, we'll start the morning from the 50s into the 60s. We'll get a little shot of some cooler air. The winds are going to pick up. That's what's going to make the difference. You'll see that in our first alert forecast right into the weekend coming up on WTOC.
And take a look at this picture. This is John Wilson. He was parked at the Garden City terminal when that storm came rushing through. He says the wind blew his truck over. John was taken to Memorial Hospital, discharged just a couple hours later. We caught up with him when he went back to his truck straight from the hospital to assess the damage.
Just quickly grabbed a passenger seat and buried my head down inside it, into it, and just took the impact and all. You know, all the windows came busting in and start shaking, and I just closed my eyes and just prayed the Lord, hey, you know, watch over me, you know, and it just lifted my truck up, and I don't know what all happened in. I just felt like it just totally just snatched it up.
Wow. And to Mr. Wilson, we are just glad you are okay.
Wow. Well, we're following some more breaking news tonight. Savannah-Chatham County Schools announcing it has selected a new superintendent. They've chosen Dr. Ann Levette. Dr. Levette currently serves as the school district's deputy superintendent and chief academic officer. A search has been underway since Dr. Thomas Lockamy announced his retirement. 97 completed and submitted those applications. That was followed by interviews. Just today, the 4 remaining candidates return for a second round of interviews. The board saying it has identified the individual whom they feel demonstrates the strongest qualifications for leading the school district forward.
Heading back out live now to Garden City for you. All of this damage is going to take a long time to clean up. Our Tasia Reed joins us live after the break. She'll be joined by Chatham County's Public Information Officer to explain a bit more about that.
And switching over to a live picture of our radar now, Chief Meteorologist John Weatherby will walk us through the damage and detail what's ahead in the forecast.
Continuing coverage now, our Jamie Ertl, also out in Garden City this evening, and she joins us now.
Jamie, you were out in that storm all day in the storm chaser, checking everything out. Tell us what you saw then and what you're seeing now.
So basically, our route, we were in Effingham County right around 5:15 during the news at 5. And so we decided to come eastbound on US Highway 80. We kind of backtracked, kind of getting ahead of the storm. What we did, we took Highway 80 to Dean Forest, 21 to the Houlihan, and literally as we were crossing into Jasper County, Joel and I, the driver of the storm chaser, saw the rotation kind of get sucked back into the atmosphere. There was a definite white rotation in the clouds, and we didn't know it at the time, but just south of where we were, because we took Dean Forest, it was US Highway 80 just past Chatham County. So literally, if you're thinking highway-wise, we were one exit away from where this storm occurred. Now, another interesting point, I want to take a look at some video that we caught with our WTOC Downtown Skycam. This is 30 minutes, time-lapse, 9 seconds. Can you see how fast the clouds are moving? That's time lapse. And then we pause it for a second and we've got a big red circle. It's not your TV or movie tornado, but there is a definite line from the clouds to the ground, and that's where we think the storm touched down. You could see Bay Street in the foreground, and then to the right would be the ports right in Garden City. And it didn't last very long, and then we kind of zoom over to the right where you see a little bit of rotation crossing over Hutchinson Island, but nothing confirmed or nothing reported being damaged over there. But when I drove up to the scene, I'm just going to reference this again because it speaks for itself. If you're thinking about someone dragging your feet across the floor, this is exactly, if a tornado indeed did touch down here, it just dragged across the corner of this store. And Channing, can you see the cans are still standing, the aisles are still standing? It's just amazing out here that nobody was seriously injured. Live in Garden City, First Alert meteorologist Jamie Ertl.
And I'm First Alert Chief Meteorologist John Weatherby. The after effect of all that now means recovery for a lot of folks in a lot of different places. And what caused those storms, the energy that caused that storm, continues to push on and out of the way. We've got several more bands of energy to come through, and that may generate a shower or two. Here's when the actual front will come through at 5 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning. And with that, unless you're down by the Brunswick area, it looks like it's just going to be rain. So there's nothing more severe to come this way. But our First Alert weather day certainly lived up to its name. 71, 70, 68, 67. See the temperatures slowly trying to fall. Rain chances also diminishing. Perhaps a 20% chance of rain first thing in the morning. 59 should be the low. Up to 64, 10 o'clock, 66 by 11, 69 by the time we get to noon. 75 should be the afternoon high. Any rain chances likely to be earlier in the day. A little chance later in the day. And look at the winds. West winds 11, 13, 16. That's not taking into account the gusts. I'll do that in a second. Much cooler, too. 75 St. Simons, Jessup at 69, Reedsville 66, 68 at Statesboro, Hinesville 71 for a high, Hilton Head 73, Beaufort 73, Hampton at 68. We were at 84 for a high today. We're not going to see that at all. And here are the gusty winds. This is what the wind models are suggesting. A 36-mile-an-hour wind at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Springfield at 32, Savannah 32-mile-an-hour winds. And the winds don't settle down that much during the day Friday into Saturday. That's important with the Don Lagana MS Walk coming up on Saturday. That forecast straight ahead. 75 for tomorrow. There's the 20% chance of showers and windy. I could have put windy on Saturday as well. 76 for a high. Sunshine Sunday, high of 80. Sunshine 81 Monday. 83 mostly sunny, 83. 87 on Wednesday. 87 on Thursday. It's going to be dry for the next couple of days, and while it will be cool first thing in the morning tomorrow and cool first thing Saturday morning, it indeed is going to warm up very nicely again back into the 80s. Oh, and speaking of the MS Walk, I hope you come and join us at Daffin Park when we all gather 8, 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock is when we start, so from 56 up to 67 degrees. By noon, by the time we're done, 73 should be our temperature. And again, west winds will be up to 18 miles an hour as we go through Saturday morning. But tonight, No worries, a couple more showers and we're done. 58, 20% chance of lingering showers for Friday with partly cloudy skies. That's going to feel cool. Check that out indeed. Not that 7-day forecast, though, is dry the rest of the way, and that's not too bad at all.
No, it's not. John, undoubtedly the Garden City area, the hardest hit in terms of damage from these storms. Want you to take a look at some of this video. Kind of talk us through what you think may very well have happened here.
Well, lift. Anytime you see debris up in power lines, anytime you see trees or things bent over, that's often the case there. You can see how the dark clouds have lifted those cars. Anything that's got a little space underneath it will get some lift. That often happens. We suggest get out of mobile homes, for example. That's a classic example. I like Jamie's example, too, of that just dragged itself right across the corner of that storm. There's more debris that's elevated. That elevation is simply a matter of lifting that energy up into the air, and that's what the wind was doing.
Look at that, how it snapped that power pole there. Boom. And also explains that 18-wheeler turning over. There it
is, because it had some lift. And how ironic, it fell right onto its cab, which is kind of interesting. And fortunately, everybody was okay.
That's right. Thank you so much, John.
Sure.
Transformer here blew.
Transformer blew.
And when it blew, the wind picked up. Once it picked up, our doors flew open. We tried to grab the doors closed. The wind just knocked this side of the wall down. And the roof went up in the air and everything slammed down.
That interview coming from Tasia Reed on Facebook Live just minutes after the storm tore off the roof of that Advanced Auto Parts store in Garden City.
The worker telling Tasia he was inside when everything happened and witnessed the roof come off. She's joining us now live again from outside of the store. Tasia, a very scary moment for all those men involved today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Garden City officials and SEMA officials, as you can see behind me, still out here tonight. Now, I'm joined by Catherine Glaspie as well, the public information officer for Chatham County. We talked about some of the storm damage, some of the things. What else happened that maybe people did not know?
There was a structure fire and also a hazmat spill that consisted of diesel fuel and oil from an 18-wheeler. All those issues have been taken care of and been cleared up.
If you're at home, what should people know tonight and going into the morning? Obviously, Highway 80 is still closed in certain sections. What do you want people to know?
Right now, we still have emergency crews out, so that we do have this area closed. We ask people to just stay away from the area, let them do their work. Also, be careful when you're out and about in the morning because there is still debris around. We don't want anybody getting hurt.
Perfect, perfect. Again, Highway 80 is still closed certain sections. They're working on restoring power. We will bring you all of the latest updates as soon as we get them. Reporting live in Garden City, Tasia Reed, WTOC News.
Well, the storm has passed, and now we want to look ahead.
Well, some Garden City businesses will be closed for a long time as they work to get things back to normal. Joining us now with more on the overnight plans for first responders is Sean Evans.
Hell, those businesses with the severe damage absolutely won't be open for a long time. Some with minor damage still doing cleanup tonight. Behind me, you can see power crews still working diligently here along Highway 80 in Garden City. Right now, we're at 3rd Street in Highway 80. They're allowing traffic to actually come down here from the Burnside Boulevard side toward the east end of the scene right now, but they are detouring them here at 3rd Street. And from 3rd all the way to the farmers market, that will be closed down for some time tonight. So if you do have to drive through the area, just have that in mind. But again, power crews out here working. We just saw a convoy of trucks go through, and we are near the area actually just probably about an hour, hour and a half after the storm came through this afternoon and early evening. I was standing underneath of a transformer when it popped, and sparks flew out from that. So that was definitely a start. But those are the kinds of things that they're working to fix right now, and they will be again into the overnight hours. As we learn more from the Pike crews here on scene, we'll be sure to bring you those updates. Again, we do have the Georgia Power Map online right now, so you can see where those outages are, how long they're anticipated to be out. And again, more details from our storm coverage all night long on WTOC.com right now. Reporting live in Garden City, Sean Evans, WTOC News.
Real quick, let's take a look now live outside with the WTOC Savannah Hilton Head International Airport Skycam. A few delays or canceled flights earlier this evening because of all that weather. Here's a look now at the arrivals and departure page, if we can bring that up. If you do have a flight tomorrow, either way, a reminder to arrive early and at least call to check the status of your flight before you even leave the house. And this is new video tonight from Telfair Road. Are we going to go to that. There we go. From Telfair Road, Chatham County officials, there was a structure fire on 2nd Avenue, a hazmat spill believed to be diesel fuel and oil from that. So you want to remember that these areas are going to be difficult to get through for a while. That truck now just being righted there earlier this afternoon.
The WTOC Sports Desk is sponsored by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Hello again, everyone. I want you to keep in mind that video you just saw of that overturned tractor trailer on Telfair Road, as the weather had a huge impact on the playoff schedule. Some of our teams opted to play a day early yesterday, and at least one game today, the lightning detector proved to be a valuable tool. Savannah Christian head coach Carl Carter, he's a two-time Hall of Fame coach. He chose not to start his ace against North Cobb Christian. Fearing the game would get called, the pitch count would still go against his pitcher. Now, Jared Brown did a great job early on here with a strikeout, but North Cobb would take a 3-2 lead in the 5th inning with a double to right center field. That is when the game went to a lightning delay at 5:10. Fans were told to seek shelter. Then 15 minutes later, the winds and the rains came. The game was called off. They will start all over again tomorrow with Carter still having his ace fresh. Now, as an indication as to how serious the weather got at that game, less than a mile away, probably about a half a mile, is where the winds were so strong that it turned over that tractor trailer. That happening around 5:45.
Well, here's another live look at the damage at the Advanced Auto Parts in Garden City. The store completely destroyed during tonight's storms. More after the break with what's ahead for tonight and tomorrow.
Taking another live look for you of the scene there in Garden City. The roof and walls torn off that Advanced Auto Parts in Garden City. We've shown you this damage all day long, pretty much.
So what's next? There's a lot of cleaning up to do. First responders will be out all night. You can see one of the officers there from Garden City patrolling the area to make sure that there is no looting. Got to say thank you, John. You and your team did a fantastic job today.
I'm so glad the WTOC Storm Chaser happened to make its debut. How appropriate, how fortunate for us.